things here. You have a cylinder, looks like a toilet paper roll. You have some felt pieces. Um, you'll notice that the rectangular black felt becomes a cylinder when you roll it around. So that's all a cylinder is a rolled up rectangle. Okay, you also need some glue for this. You can have someone hot glue it for you, but you don't really need it. If you're patient with it, you'll be fine. And I don't want you guys using hot glue. I don't want you to get burned. So the first thing that you're going to need is your cylinder and your black piece of felt. You make one line along the edge of your felt, not too close to the edge, but close enough. And then you're going to put your cylinder on your piece of felt, roll it up, and the glue side goes on top of the other one. And if you hold it down for just a few minutes, it'll dry nicely. I didn't hold it for long enough, so mine peeled up. So you'll see later I have to re-glue it. But if you take your time, it'll glue, and do it over a couple days or something. So this one's actually easy. The hat is a little harder. Okay, so set that aside while it continues to dry. And then the next piece you're going to work on is the hat. Now this is like an ice cream cone or like a party hat. It's a Santa hat or an elf hat. So it rolls around like this. This is a little tricky. So you want to glue those straight sides together, not the curved side. So you're going to just put some glue along the edge of one straight side, just like that. And then roll it around. And I had to try it a few times. If you're patient and take your time, you can do it. But it is a little frustrating to do. Anyway, you just match up the bottom end, the edges, and then you just kind of fix the hat and then squeeze it together. I found that once you got the edges together, that if you flatten the hat, that you can just hold the seam closed. So I finally got it pulled together. It just took a little bit of doing. I squeezed it down. I checked to make sure there was no glue coming through the other side. Added a little bit of glue here because it was coming apart already, because the glue kind of soaks into the fabric. So sometimes you have to add a little more. But anyway, so you get enough glue in there and then you just squeeze it down and hold it for longer than that. I shortened that up because you don't need to sit there and watch glue dry. This little ball goes on the top, but you'll see that it falls off. And so I found out that it's easier to do that very, very last. So here's my attempt at gluing it on. And you'll see that it doesn't really stay too well. If you're going to just leave it to dry, it's fine. But you have so much else that you have to do on that hat. You have like 3 other things to glue to it that it kind of makes it hard for the little ball to stay on there unless you wait a while. Then this is the trim that goes around the edge of the hat. Now on this piece of trim, you'll notice it's also a rectangle. There was a blue mark on it, so I found the blue mark, and that's the side I'm going to put my glue on, because then the imperfection that's on there won't show on my project. So it's okay if you have a little ink or something like that on your felt. Just make sure you use the correct side. Sometimes you can't switch it around, but in this case we could. Now, the other thing you want to be mindful of is your seam. Your seams always go on the back of your project. You'll see there's a little seam on the back of the hat, and I'm starting the white trim where the seam is, and I'm taking it around so all my seams are in the back. That's where your edges are. A seam is your edge, and it's where you put 2 edges together. So you just roll this around. Takes a little bit of doing, but you can do it. And you just stick it down and just give it a little nudge there for a bit. The ball hasn't fallen off yet, but it's working on it. So, and then there's the trim on the hat. It doesn't glue down totally perfectly, but it's fine. There's a little edge that sticks out at the top. Because Santa hats do that. Oh, there goes the ball. So we'll just wait and re-glue the ball later. So get it kind of stuck down so it's kind of sticking together while it dries. And then the next part is going to be the holly leaves. Now I think there were berries in this, like a little red circle of some sort. There wasn't one in the kit that I had. I think mine got lost. So I'm going to put the two holly leaves together, um, and where they're touching at the bottom, they make like a V. And at the bottom of the V, that's where you'll want to glue on your holly berries. So, or holly berry. I don't know how many there are because I don't have the actual picture of them. I have a copy of the directions. So there you go. You add a little bit of glue. Make sure on the front of your hat, make sure the seam is on the back so that all the nice stuff is on the front and all the edges and whatnots are on the back. So now I put the holly on there, so that's good. Now I'm going to do the face. There's my seam. I want to make sure my seam is on the back. I have something blue stuck to it, and I'll pick that off. You don't want to leave fuzz stuck to it. This is the little bill for the penguin, so squeeze it down in half. If you want to put it in a book overnight to make a good crease, that will work too. It works better than this because I just folded it. But anyway, you want to make sure you're on the front side of the cylinder, that the seam is on the back. There's the things that go around the eyes. So that's part of the eyes. So what I'm doing is I'm not gluing it down. I'm positioning things. I'm making sure that I know where I want things to go. So now I'm going to glue this down. I just did one line straight across the two circles. You can see it there. And I didn't put globs and globs of glue on there because otherwise it gets gluey everywhere and it gets all over the place. You can see I've got glue on my hand there. Anyway, so there's where the eyes are going to go. And sorry, it's a little bit at the top edge of the camera range there. And now I'm going to put the googly eyes on. And you just put a little dot of glue where you want the eyes to go. You don't want them to be cross-eyed. You kind of want them looking down a little bit. So have the eyes kind of towards the bottom of the circles so he doesn't look like he has beady eyes. And hold them on. That first eye that I put on starts to slide a little bit. So if you just push it up, you will see it's kind of droopy. So if you just slide it up before it dries, it'll be fine. So I'm trying the hat on to make sure that I have the white eye thing in the right place. So, because it's still wet, I could slide it if I wanted to. So now I'm holding the eyes down just so that they don't move. And now I'm going to put the bill on. Now, the bill was a square until I folded it on the diagonal in half. And I'm going to put some glue along that line. I'll unfold it so you can see how the glue line goes because it's very small. It's hard to see. You can see the glue line. Now watch when I unfold it. See how the fold goes from corner to corner, not from edge to edge. So I'm going to hold it closed like a closed beak, and I'm going to stick that glue right underneath his eyes and hold it there. It doesn't stay closed very well on mine, but that's because I didn't have time to really squish mine down. So if you want his mouth to stay closed a little better, you can put that beak in a book overnight or underneath something heavy overnight, and that'll give it a nice crease and it should stay closed a little better. He still looks cute though. So then you have the little wings, and you want to put the wings on either side. You want to pay attention to the positioning of your wings. I found they look cutest if they're about even with the eyes, the googly eyes part. And just want to put one dot of glue on one end and just stick it on there, because otherwise they're not going to show if you stick them all the way down. So don't glue them all the way down. You want them sticking out just a little bit, like that. And just hold them on there for a second till they stay stuck by themselves. Now what I'm going to do is, well, I'm going to re-glue this seam because it's coming apart from playing with the thing, from gluing stuff on. So I'm going to re-glue it, and you can just hold it there for a minute and just till it kind of sticks by itself. If you put too much glue on, it's not going to stick as quickly. So you want to get it just right. You want Goldilocks glue. You want it to be just right. So, and just put glue around the top edge of the cylinder. It's a little hard to see in this lighting. You can kind of see it. And then you just set the hat on top. You don't need to squish it down. Make sure the holly is over his eyes. You can put them right in the middle, or you can offset it just a little bit, however you want to do it. But then all your seams are on the back and all your pretty stuff is on the front. And so he looks really super cute. And now all he needs is the ball on top of his hat. So I set him down and grab the glue bottle, put another little dollop of glue up there, and just set the ball on top and let him dry overnight before you try to wrap him. Now you're going to go to the end of this video and find how to do your wrapping and how to do your card and how to wrap your gift. So you'll want to skip over the next section and go towards the end of the video to see the rest of it. There you go. There's your penguin. Okay, for those of you that are doing this snowman with earmuffs, here are your things that you got in your packet. You've got the cylinder, you've got the white rectangle, which becomes a cylinder, you have the smile, you have the earmuffs, you have the carrot nose, you have the band that holds the earmuffs over his head, and his 2 eyeballs. So first you'll need your cylinder, and you can move your other stuff out of the way so you don't get glue on them. And you're going to put a little line of glue towards the end of your white rectangle, and you're going to set that on there because that piece is going to go underneath because the glue is going to stick to the other end of the rectangle. And there you go. You just turned a rectangle into a cylinder. And you're going to hold it just for a minute till it kind of sticks down enough to where it doesn't really separate too much. If it does, just add a little more glue to it and hold it down. Okay. And now we're going to find our seam, and we're going to put our seam on the back. So put the seam on the back, and you have the blank side facing toward you, and you are going to place the pieces on without glue just to see how they look and how you want them to go. So you want to make sure you plan this nicely, because once the glue dries, they're there for good. So I'm going to put the eyeballs on. One eyeball slides off because it's curved and there's gravity. But anyway, it kind of gives you an idea once both eyes are on what he's going to look like. He's super cute, happy little snowman, kind of marshmallowy shaped snowman. So take all the things off carefully, and then you are going to start gluing. Now, the first time I glued the smile, I did just a dot on either end, but that wasn't enough. So later you'll see I come back and re-glue it, and I put a line of glue all the way around the mouth. So you can save yourself a little time and just do the glue all the way around the mouth. Don't just try to do the ends of the smile. You'll notice I double checked to see where my seam was because I didn't want my seam on the side. And I made sure it was in the back. See, there it is. And then, see, it's already not sticking very well. I kind of knew at this point that I was going to have to go back and re-glue it. So then we're going to do the nose. And I just put a little line of glue on the nose. And then pick the nose up. Twice for luck. And stick the nose onto the snowman. And then I'm going to put 2 blobs where I want the eyes, not a ton of glue, just enough to get the eyes to stick. So put one eye on, and then put the other eye on. Just give them a little push, hold them there for a second till they kind of stick. And you can make little adjustments. See, I had to re-glue his mouth, so I just pulled it off and put more glue on it. And stuck it to my hand. And put the glue, or put the smile underneath his nose. Got them all lined up the way I want them. So now his face is done. Now we're going to work on the earmuffs. So what I did was I looked to see how I wanted the band to go over his head. And it's kind of like the handle on a bucket. And it works pretty well. Actually, it kind of stayed without me even gluing it. But it wouldn't stay permanently if I didn't glue it. Sorry, I keep yawning. I'm tired. It's late in the day. So put the band over top, and that looks good. So I took it off and put a little bit of glue. You have to kind of add extra glue to this because it's a pipe cleaner. The glue kind of sinks down in between the little fuzzy things. So you need enough that it's going to sit on top of the fuzzy things so it'll glue to the felt. So there you go. And he has his headband on, and next all we have to do is put the earmuffs on. Super easy job. Just a dollop of glue. Again, you'll need just a little bit more than you would normally use because of the fuzz. And you stick it on there, give it a little push, and there you go. And then he needs one more so he's not lopsided. There, that's a good amount of glue on there. Stick it on, hold it there for a second. And there he is, cute as can be. And once he's dry, he's ready to be wrapped up. So the next section is making your card or wrapping your gift first and then making your card. There you go. Okay, here we are wrapping our gift. So you have tissue paper, you have a brand new box of crayons for second semester, then you have your lunch bag. Notice that part of the lunch bag lifts up. That's the bottom. You don't want to color on the bottom. So you want the side that is one solid piece. So make sure that the bottom is down towards the table, and you are going to decorate it. You can do anything you want. Christmas stockings, whatever. I did a Christmas tree. I sped this up. I don't really draw that fast. And because it's sideways, it's not a great looking Christmas tree, but I'm just doing this real fast to demonstrate. So there's my Christmas tree, put a little trunk and put it in a tree stand. I probably should have colored it. Oh, I'm doing the lights. I'm stringing lights on it. So I used blue, purple, and like this weird red color. I didn't have all the good colors. This is an old box that I just have in the cabinet that I use when I need crayons. So there I made a string of lights going around my tree, and I followed a pattern. You could do as many lights as you want. You just do ornaments. You don't have to do anything. And then I put a star on the top, and then I added a trunk. I should have colored the trunk in. I realized that later, but whatever. So then I'm not going to write on the bottom of the bag because when you open the bag, you don't see it. So I wrote Merry Christmas on this side, do a little holly and berries. You can do anything you want. You want to do Santa on a sleigh, whatever you want to do. This is your gift wrap. And I probably should have colored in the holly too. So then you're going to take your tissue paper, you're going to put your gift inside the tissue paper and just crunch the tissue paper up around it. And that is how you are wrapping your gift. So you're going to need to open your bag. I should have opened the bag first. This was backwards. But open the bag, wrap your gift, and put it inside the bag. Now your adult can't see what you made them. And then you can just fold down the top like a nice little lunch. And there you go. Now we're going to see how to make the card. So this is the snowman card. And I didn't give you cotton balls, but you can, if your adult has cotton balls, they add a nice touch to your card. You don't need them though. So just go ahead and color in the red part. I didn't have red, so I did kind of this really red purple. Santa can have any color skin you want. If you want him to have the same color skin as you. My Santa has pretty much my color skin. You can see by my arms there that I am about as white as that paper. So there you go. I also went around and I darkened in the black lines. I did miss a few. I also traced along the dotted lines. Those dotted lines are fold lines. They're not cut lines. But so as long as you know not to cut on those lines, you can go ahead and trace over them for your highlighting, or outlining. So I went around and I outlined all the black lines. I missed a couple, so you'll see when I'm cutting, I stopped to add lines. But that's what your Santa looks like if you don't add the fur. But if you want fur, you'll just need 1 or 2 cotton balls. It's not much. Color in his belt. You might notice I did opposite diagonals on his boots, so it looks like his feet are pointing out. It gives him kind of a third dimension look. Okay, now you're going to cut. Now, I sped this up. Don't really cut this fast. Now watch in slow motion. Watch when I get to the fold lines. I'm going to stay on the dark lines. And I'm going to go around. Okay, see, I don't go up the dotted lines. I stay on the solid black lines. A little cutting hack here. I hold the paper loosely in my fingers. I move the paper and the scissors to help me navigate around these curvy lines. So if you watch how I cut, you can also change the speed of how you watch it if you want to know how to move your paper as well as the scissors to help you cut. If I have to get in a tight corner, I go way to the back of the scissors where the 2 blades touch, and I use that because there's a lot more control there. If I want to only go a short distance, I'll use the tip of the scissors because it won't cut any more than the distance of the tip. And so there's all different kinds of little cutting hacks that you can learn if you don't already know them. Okay, so it's the end of the slow motion here pretty soon, and we're just going to zip around the card till I get to his head, because you're going to be in the same situation again. See how Santa and the back side of Santa there, his kind of a shadow, are still connected. Okay, here we go. Quick around Santa. I'm pointing out there that you go around that arch there. You don't go up along the fold lines. Okay, and found a spot I needed to fix, so I'm fixing it, and I'm going to continue cutting all the way up around Santa. Notice I moved the paper and the scissors both. Now I missed outlining his hat. Now I'm going to go carefully because there's fold lines there by the pom-pom of his hat, and I'm going to do this very slowly so you can see that I just go in that dip and I come out of the dip again. I don't go down those dotted lines. If you cut those dotted lines, you will have 2 cards. So, and if that's what you want, that's all you. Okay, so then we go around and we finish cutting the card, and in and out on the little poofy things. And when you fold it, the sides will match up. If you fold it well. I folded it kind of sloppy the first time, you'll see that. Anyway, so now you're going to fold on the dotted lines. You have these spaces in here. There's the dotted lines. But you have these 2 spaces, and it's hard to get to those, but I'm going to show you a little hack for getting to them. I'm going to fold the card in half, sort of like the same idea as cutting hearts. Okay, now you see the fold line there. Now I'm going to go through and cut out just that part along the solid lines there next to his beard and at his shoulder, and the other one at his belt line under his elbow. I'm darkening in some lines I missed. And I cut out this little section, and I noticed that my card isn't quite folded exactly in half, and you see the little things on the back are a little inaccurate. It's fine if yours is like that, but I like mine folded right, so I went ahead and fixed the fold, and then I had a little excess on that one that needed to be trimmed out, so I just took the extra time to do that. That is an option that you have. You don't have to do that. So you go through and trim that up. And there you go. There's your card. Now you're going to open your card like a book, and you're going to write inside of it. So you can write with pencil, pen, crayon, doesn't matter. I just use crayon because it was handy. So I wrote to, and I'm going to write who it's to. And then I'm going to write Merry Christmas. You can write anything you want. I love you very much, or whatever, or enjoy your gift, happy Hanukkah, depending on what you celebrate, and then love, comma, and then your name goes underneath love. So, and then there's my card. Now I'm going to put the cotton balls on. So I'm going to real fast just glue it. Now this is sped up. So I'm just going to put glue. If you're doing the cotton balls, you don't have to. You just put glue on all the white spaces and then you pull the cotton ball apart. That's the key to it, is to pull the cotton ball apart. You can do it as thick or thin as you want. The glare from the video screen kind of makes you not be able to see it very well. But anyway, I also had a hard time doing his eyebrows. So if you want to do his eyebrows, you can. You don't have to. But you get all those white parts, all the places that are fur. The trim on his jacket, the trim on his pants, his beard, the thing down the front. And there you go. That's how you attach it to your gift and put it under the tree. And it doesn't stay on too well unless you attach it. You can staple it or tape